Hey everyone, welcome to episode 3 of the Student Filmmaker podcast. I'm your host, Ellie Argent. I'm a student filmmaker, specifically a producer. And today's guest is Justin Topp, a student filmmaker that actually went to film school. One of the first that I've ever met who actually went to film school. And he cares a lot about the business side of film, which is incredibly important. Justin.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. It's really nice to have you on set. It's been really nice, like, getting to know you too. You're one of, like, the first student filmmakers in DFG that I didn't know at first, and it was cool just, like, having you.
Yeah, it was kind of like late registration, just kind of pulled up out of nowhere.
Yeah, you were at film school before you came here, right?
Yeah, and I kind of decided to change my major just because of the location.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Los Angeles, great place for production, great sets, and I had good experiences there and learned a lot of stuff. But I think for me, coming from Chico and liking to, well, and Paradise and Magalia, that's where I've lived before.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I'm from Paradise.
I'm definitely more of like a nature kind of person, and I like a smaller community where I can kind of just relax, hear the birds.
Yeah.
And so it always felt like a constant pressure in Los Angeles, and it's a real rat race. And like I respect that completely for everyone that's down there, but it seemed like everyone on set was out to take your job.
Oh.
And some weren't. So I still have some friends that are down there, a really good group of people, and they're helping me on films this summer down in Los Angeles. And so if you find the right people, it's nice, but it was just a constant stress, and I felt more pressured than creative.
Oh, okay.
So I had already gotten my associates in business as well as film. And
Okay.
so I was like, I think I'm going to lean more into the business side because I was doing good enough here with video and film that I was like, why would I take away all those connections I already had?
Yeah.
So
Did you have your own business as a videographer?
Yeah, so mostly wedding videography.
Yeah.
Started
I've
that.
seen your setup, yeah.
Well, yeah, so the start of the videography journey was with House of Blue in Pleasant Valley High School.
Yes.
Mike Peck, great teacher.
Yay.
If you're trying to do filmmaking at a really young age and you're in Chico or Butte County, go to PV because
Absolutely.
they have, 3 different rooms, full studio, full lighting grid system.
Yeah, I've never seen it myself, but House of Blue is, like, constantly something that people talk about at Chico State. Anytime someone talks about videography, House of Blue comes up.
And I would definitely say that they're on par with most college, like, entry-level film schools.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it also counts as college credit, that course in high school.
I did not know that.
Yeah, because they just operate at a different level. And for example, he's pushing the students to do actual film competitions. They travel. I've been to Los Angeles and Georgia with House of Blue just as a high school student. And
Dude.
yeah, we did a bunch of film competitions.
Okay, so definitely for local kids in the Chico area, like, PV is where it's at for film. I didn't know that it was that robust and that they travel and that they actually compete.
Yeah, I kind of wish that there was more publicity for that because they
Well,
really
we can
do
help with that.
Yeah, yeah,
we could
Mike
do a
Peck.
reel with House of Blue.
Yeah, I'm sure they'd be
you
down.
could come. You could give us a tour. And
I
then we
do.
could, like,
I do
walk-
lectures there sometimes. So
You could even host. You could, like, we could just be, like, the observers, and then you could, like, walk the reel through. That'd be cool.
I would love to show off House of Blue. They deserve all the credit. So
Yeah. How did House of Blue, like, influence you? Was it the professor, or was it the resources, or was it, like, a culmination of all of that?
Well, so speaking on like the business side of film again, Mike Peck is definitely, he has a passion for movies, but he's definitely on the business side as well. He helps you get those connections to do
Good.
video work in Chico. So if it's shooting the Walk for Water, shooting the Thursday Night Market, that's a really easy entry level position for these
Yes.
students to show that they want to be involved. Because there's definitely students that just want to make film with their friends. And
Yeah.
so there's like that dichotomy there of creative versus business.
Commercial, yeah.
Yeah, creative and commercial. And so he definitely helps distinguish that. So like
That's great.
if you're just someone who wants to have fun, you can do that, but he definitely wants to focus more on the kids who are committed.
Good.
I was president in my senior year of the class, and it was just a great time. I definitely wanted everyone to get together and make stuff. And we made a lot of stuff. I think that's probably the most fun I've had with film was in House of Blue.
That's good.
But, you got to move on and you got to do stuff. And so now it's more work and then a little bit of fun.
Okay,
So
yeah.
finding a nice balance where you can actually get paid to do this full time.
I was about to say.
Yeah.
Really good. Leading into my next question. I am super glad that you're realistic about this. So being a filmmaker is different than being a working filmmaker, is different than being a commercial videographer. And there are a lot of film students who want to be filmmakers. That is such a project by project basis. How did you come to that realization? Did that happen at PV?
So I would say that I always had a liking for business before film. So
Okay.
I was doing accounting and stuff like that. And I really like managing money and stuff like that. So maybe that's just a business mindset. But I also love movies. So my love for movies came from my grandpa. So when I was little, it was every week. We were talking Monday, Thursday, every day of the week. He was taking me to movies. And as a kid, I remember I went to the Guardians of the Galaxy opening week 7 times in a row.
Whoa.
And I was like, I got to see it again. And my grandpa would take me no matter what, because he was just this big film buff, but he was never like, he just wanted to watch it. That was it. That was like all he cared about. And so once he passed, I was like, I'm going to get my name in a credit roll for him. Like that was my main goal going into like doing video, and, you know, having a YouTube channel as a kid was kind of, I wasn't, well, the YouTube channel thing was more like...
You mentioned
it. Wasn't,
You mentioned it.
It wasn't like film stuff. It was more just like videos of me and my sister. But when I remember I was doing graphic design in junior high, and I was like talking to my graphic design teacher. He's like, you should really check out House of Blue. Like, you should really go check out their program. It's an amazing place. Yeah. And right when I walked in, it like blew my mind. Because I was like, this is in Chico? Like, it didn't make sense to me. It's one of like the best studios I've seen in Chico.
Oh my gosh.
For college students too. Honestly,
Wow.
if you were a college student, you could get a lot done there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's where the passion came in, I guess, for film.
So
that's the passion
was your
of filmmaking, right?
What's your grandfather's name?
His Grandpa Wayne. It's Wayne.
Grandpa Wayne.
Yep.
Have you seen the TV show Wayne?
Wayne. No.
Oh, okay, never mind. But that's
Wayne's
like a
World.
random. No, not Wayne's World. Wayne is I don't even know how to explain it. It's like a badass like New Jersey dude who like he's basically like an anti-hero. Anyways, I'll show you it later.
Okay.
Grandpa Wayne is what gave you the passion, what gave you the business side, the realistic like I want to live and feed myself side.
Yeah, so I guess I would shout out the writer that I work with the most is Alex Kuykendall, and he is fully in the creative and the art. He is there to be a writer, and he's not there for the business.
Yes.
He will die by his art, and like he'll bleed by his art. So like that is 100% him, and he's no BS. So it's like the moment that the business stuff gets in, it's not that he doesn't want to hear about it. He'll hear about it, but he wants to focus on the story. And I think we're almost a yin and yang, but sometimes we butt heads because I'm like, hey, we got to get stuff on schedule. Like, can we schedule stuff? And he's like, well, it's got to be good. Because if it's not good, you can tell he's not having it sometimes. And fair enough. Like, that is your story. You want the vision to be the vision.
Yes.
But sometimes the vision has to get done on time. like we have a schedule for this vision.
Sometimes we don't have daylight
and
to get the shot that you want to get. Yeah.
I think working with him and also Raphael Winslow, I did a bunch of video competitions with him, and I've worked with him closely. He's probably the most talented editor I've ever worked with. And I mean, that's just my small circle of people, and I think everyone will have that eventually. You know, if you're making films, there's people that you're comfortable making films with, and you can obviously branch out and find new people. But that's kind of where the business and the creative come in.
I love that. I love that it was like two main people that influenced it for you too, like your friend who is absolutely obsessed with his art, and then your grandfather who you spent your early years with watching movies. That's really sweet.
Yeah, thank you.
I like that you're realistic about the business side. I like that you think about it. I'm a producer, and I have to think about the business side. I am usually the person that is trying to secure financing for the film, and it's my reputation with these investors or financiers that will change if something is not on schedule or on budget. And I've done a lot to try to build a world or build the structures for my directors. So like I'll keep everything out of your way so that you can focus all your energy on your your vision and your story. Have you thought about being a producer?
In passing, I definitely really just like the camera work. Like that's the passion part of
Okay.
it. And so working with cameras is fun for me.
Okay.
And it's different every day. So just being able to learn this like technology that's always advancing
Yes.
is more fun to me than sitting on a spreadsheet, which
Absolutely.
I totally understand is a need, and that is the business side of it.
Yeah.
But maybe down the road, maybe that's where my business degree will take me. But I think that for now, at least, that camera is 100% where I am.
Good. So you want to be a camera operator,
Yes, camera operator.
not necessarily a director of photography who's composing shots, or like a mix of both?
Well, at this point, I mix and dabble,
Yes.
just to get work, because just to do something. So just the more work you have eventually. I mean, DP, like in film school, when they're breaking down all those positions, you're like DP, AC, second AC, all that stuff. Our film teacher, her name's Eno, she works in the industry and she's worked on movies. And so it's very intimidating when you get there because it's like, oh, this person is the person.
Yeah, she did.
And just like the business side, she's not just working on film. She's working on music videos, commercials, because that's the only way to be a DP or a camera op
Yes.
is to constantly work. And so she would show her spreadsheets and her shot schematics, and her precision was perfect almost because she went to AFI. And so AFI, if you're, I mean, you're either two things at AFI in my opinion. And so this could come off as negative, but I think that you're either in debt or you have a lot of daddy's money. Because
Yes.
it's very expensive. We're talking like 50, 60 grand a semester.
Yes.
And
Oh
so-
my God.
But that's not to take away from the quality that would give you. I've been on some AFI sets because our teacher would put us on this list. So all of our names would go on this list. And any AFI student looking for additional crew could reach out to CSUN students.
Oh.
And we could, so like any weekend where we got an email, we could go out on an AFI shoot.
That's
and
awesome.
they're legit. We're
Yeah.
talking full grip trucks packed,
Whoa.
full sets.
On university shoots?
Yeah.
That's sick.
And so these kids are serious, and
Yeah.
they're working in the industry already. There was the guy that was on the set with me. He just did a Dwayne The Rock Johnson commercial, and like he's kind of doing it already, and he's still
Yeah.
a student. And the teachers that I got to meet from AFI, they're in the industry and they know what they're talking about.
Nice.
So just that level from going from this like community-based videography kind of feel here in Chico to filmmaking was a lot different. And so like I was saying with those schematics and stuff, they were dedicating their lives to it. And she was saying, you guys are CSUN students and you pay $4,000 in tuition. That's not too much, and you guys can go hang out on the weekends with your family, with your friends. She's like, I moved here from China and I put my whole life into this. I cut off everybody, and that's all I did every day for 2 to 3 years.
And that's how she like
And that's
got
how she
successful.
did it. And we're talking 100 pages of just shot description and schematics for a film, just pre-production of the DP. So she was saying she measures every window, every wall, overhead schematic of what the room exact size is. You're using your light meter. You're checking all the light the day before. There's like apps like Helios and stuff where she's checking the sun. She's putting this all on her spreadsheet to show her director, like, this is what it's going to be.
Yeah.
And so I think the biggest takeaway that I took from that was how to be efficient. Because the way that we were operating in high school was, oh, this is cool, let's do this. And we had like a rough like shot list, but now it's 100%. Like we need to have pre-production so heavy that when we get there, it's nothing.
Yes.
So we should have a whiteboard
Absolutely.
that has a printed out shot of each shot that we're getting that day. If it's just even on the iPhone, just a little quick frame up, because then we're just running through it like that instead of, oh, I thought it was supposed to look like this. My vision was more like this. And so taking that from film school and actually using it has been super beneficial.
Yay.
And so stuff like that I could take from film school was great. And so if you want real industry work, I would definitely suggest it, but I don't think it's the only route. You could definitely move down there and just start working on sets. There, you could walk down the street and ask a couple people, and you'll probably find someone who's working.
In LA.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. That's awesome. So you had a positive experience with film school.
Yep.
It was beneficial, but because of the specific relationship between AFI and CSUN. What is the abbreviation for CSUN?
CSU, okay. California State University Northridge. So I was in Northridge. It's near Burbank. It's more in the valley.
Cool.
When I was picking film schools, I was between three. It was, what was it? It was Long Beach, Northridge, and UCLA. And UCLA was like, let's shoot for the star and see if you land on a cloud, right? Like, so I applied to all of them, submitted the portfolio. You have to do this whole portfolio review, a bunch of essays.
Cool.
And the acceptance rate for UCLA is like 2 or 3%. I think they had a class of 24 students one year where it was just and I don't really know if the film school you go to is going to determine how you do in this industry. I really don't think that's the case. I think it's who you meet, the network, and your vibe on set. Like if you're a good person, people are going to give you work. And so like I got into Long Beach and Northridge, and I was looking at my options, and I was like, okay, I'm paying for this on my own. How am I going to do this?
Dude, hell yeah.
And so Long Beach is very expensive to live in.
Okay.
Northridge, not so much. So that's where that decision came in. And every time I would travel to a film competition like Georgia or in Los Angeles, I would ask the judges, what film school do you suggest that is budget friendly but gives you the same experience? And every time they said Northridge. That's the only reason it was on my radar.
Okay.
And so if you are thinking of going to film school, I would highly suggest it. And take Eno Popper is the DP, the cinematography class. Take that class because even if you're a director, there was directors, there was writers in that class. I think that she's one of the more advanced classes out of the other teachers I was able to meet. And she sets up a field trip every Friday. So every Friday you have the option to go to, that's where I got this hat, J.L. Fisher. We went to J.L. Fisher. We got to see how they make the actual dollies. We went to Panavision. Panavision was a big trip because we got to see like how to load film into these old Panavision film cameras.
Whoa.
We got to see the first, oh man, what is it called? It uses like a 3-mirror system. The Super Panatar. You could look it up.
Panatar.
And so it was this huge shift to cinema cameras, and Panavision led that shift. And they have a lens factory where a director will come in and say, I need a lens to look like this. And they were telling us stories of there was like a picture of Quentin Tarantino on the wall, and he was like, well, I need a shot like this, and I need it to look exactly like this. And they go, okay, well, that might be a little bit difficult. And he goes, well, you guys are Panavision, so you're gonna figure it out, right? And so they did, and they make these crazy cameras. And I applied for an internship there in their what is it, the oh my Lord, what is it called?
Camera
the shipping room. Because I just wanted you get to touch every piece of equipment under the sun, because DPs are coming to rent out equipment.
Yeah.
And that's another big thing for student filmmakers is everyone thinks like, I should buy my own camera, right? I should buy all my gear. If you're working on a commercial or a project, the rental is very cheap for a full kit.
Oh, it's so much cheaper.
And even in Chico, you could go drive to Sacramento. They have rental houses.
Yeah.
You can find a rental house, and honestly, with all that covered, you also have insurance on it.
And you can feed yourself and be financially stable. You've talked about a lot of misconceptions that I just want to address, like, clearly. One misconception is student filmmakers often think that they're only going to be making films if they're in this industry. And that is amazing and possible. It's very unlikely, and there are very few people who do that. And even the people who do that struggle. Like, even like our producer, who is a professor at Chico State, who produced like large commercials. He produced like the Mucinex commercials. He would work on films, and then he would spend the next 6 months on unemployment. Like, he would literally do one thing a year and then live dirt cheap for the rest of the 6 months until he got his next job. So it's not consistent work if you're only doing film most of the time. And right now the industry is not in a great place. unfortunately, because of a lot of productions moving to other countries, specifically Canada. So if you want to live in the US and work in the US, you have to realistically consider those things. Another misconception was you need to buy your own equipment. You do not, most of the time, need to buy your own equipment. It's nice to have your own equipment, but it's better to be financially stable.
Yes.
It's much better to be financially stable.
Yeah, I just recently, and this is just because I love cameras, and I think that, and the last camera I bought, I was able to pay off with work.
Yay!
So if I can do that, then I can justify buying a camera, right?
Yes.
So my first kit was $4,000, and then I was like, you know what? I work at build.com on their media team.
Yeah.
And they have all this great equipment. We have a Sony Venice 2. We have all these huge cameras. We have dollies, all this cool stuff. And they just got the DJI Ronin 4D. And I was like, at the time I was thinking of upgrading. I was going to get a Red, and I was really considering it. And then they were like, Justin, we just got this camera. You got to try it. They're like, you're about to buy a Red. Just try this camera. I tried it for 2 days, and I was sold.
Yay.
Because we're talking, it has RAW, it has 4 axes of stabilization, and it has LiDAR. So it can sense everything in the room and perfectly pull focus on its own. And so it's pretty crazy. I hit up everyone I could on Facebook Marketplace that looked legit.
Yeah.
Because I'm all about saving some money. Because I put it into B&H. I was like, how much would it be? $18,000.
Oh.
I don't have $18,000. Okay.
No.
B&H. I hit up B&H. I found a camera package for like $7,000, and then one for $9,000. And I was like, the one for $9,000 had a lot of accessories. I was like, okay. Ooh. And so I hit him up, and he's like, yeah, I'm in Portland. And I was like, okay.
I'll do it.
Drove to Portland in a day and back.
Oh my
Bought
gosh.
the camera, spent $9,000, almost $10,000 because he threw in some stuff.
Dude.
And if you want to buy your own gear, that's completely up to you. Do your research, try to find the best deal, but also make sure it works. So test it heavily and research it heavily. Read through a manual. It's not fun, but if you read through the manual, you know the camera front to back. So when you go to look at it, you're like, no, that's messed up, dude. I'm not taking that.
Yeah.
But yeah, the guy was super cool, and I'm pretty happy with the camera.
And it was $10K?
Yeah.
So you went from 4K to 10K. That's a $6K difference.
So I got to make $10K back. So
Yes.
we're working, right?
Hell yeah.
So yeah, we're trying to get that back. And then I also wanted to talk about when you said the industry is having issues, right?
Yes.
That was a big topic of conversation in our film classes. We had this big lecture hall of like 120 film students. It was everyone in our cohort.
Yeah.
And that was one of our classes. And we would just talk about, you had to read like an article and come to class. So you'd read like the Hollywood Reporter, stuff about film.
Yes.
And you would talk about it in class, and they would have directors come in and talk to you and stuff. And so it was kind of not assuring to hear all the time from your professors, oh, the film industry here is dying. It's dying. But what was slightly reassuring was when I was talking to Eno, and when I was talking, there was this guy, he has an app called Artemis Pro, and he's a DP. He's done some really good stuff. Artemis Pro is like you can do storyboards on your phone.
I think I've actually heard of Artemis Pro.
That's cool. He came in, he showed us how the software works, and he showed us that he was developing one for some other means, which I don't think I'm allowed to say. But
sounds good.
He was showing us all this stuff, and he goes, yeah, everyone's going to tell you that it's dying and that it's going to shift to somewhere else. He goes, I grew up in Australia. There is now a film market in Australia, but that doesn't mean that these studios with, acres of lot in LA are going anywhere. There's plenty of work. So like there are strikes, and yes, with, unions, there's going to be issues because people want to get paid correctly, and that's completely fair.
Yes.
But there's always going to be work down there. So don't think you're moving down to like the worst place. It might just be a time period where it's harder to get into it. Okay. But people are working down there. You just have to be a go-getter, and you have to go get it. Because, I mean, the worst that anyone is going to say is no to you on a set. And so, like, okay, you met someone, they didn't like you, that's a no. Go to the next one. Just keep doing something. Because if you do something, eventually it'll land. There might be a lot of no's, but, I mean, so many no's.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of no's.
Okay, you have.
Pitch meetings and stuff that, it just doesn't go the way. And you have to be able to shake that because some people, it'll destroy them, right?
Yes.
And so, I mean, weigh out your work balance lifestyle, and if an opportunity seems like that's my life, do that, because our cinematography professor, she was saying, I want you guys to seriously consider what you're getting into, because I have dedicated my life to this, and I sometimes struggle to pay rent, is what she was saying. She says, you don't know when your next job's going to be. Maybe you would rather work at Panavision and have a secure 5 day a week. I get to work on cameras, and sometimes on weekends I work on a commercial or a film.
Yeah.
That's more secure because you have a paycheck coming in. So just understanding what you want out of it. And so when I thought about that and thought about the place I was in, I don't think Los Angeles was a bad place to learn film. I think Los Angeles wasn't the place for me.
Yeah.
So maybe Georgia, maybe exploring different places is something I want to do later on after my degree.
Yeah.
I don't really like Los Angeles, but I think it's a good place to learn film. But yeah, just getting into that, and like I was saying, that work-life balance, when I thought about it, I was like, I was doing good here at Ferguson Media, and I got to work with all these cameras that I never usually get to, and I'm pretty respected there, and everyone is a like-minded individual, and we have fun on set.
Yeah.
It's not this tense, like the hierarchies of a Los Angeles set, because there's a hierarchy. And so, I mean, if you want to work up the ladder, go do it. But I think that's something that I would rather do later on, after I've played with enough cameras to be like, I'm so comfortable with this.
That's awesome.
So yeah.
You're being realistic about a real life and what you actually want. And the industry can take that away from you very easily. I personally don't work in the industry, so it's not like I have anything to say about that.
We kind of do. We all are working in the industry, and because the industry is social media. It's any media really that's video. And I mean, that's me talking from more of a business side, because a filmmaker might be like, oh, Instagram Reels is not video, and it is. I mean, it depends. You can make your stuff look cinematic.
Yeah. When I say the industry, I mean I want to work on multi-million-dollar sets, like high budget, like above $5 million.
Yes.
So that's what So yeah, that's actually good that you bring that up. Is like when people say the industry, there's different meanings for every single portion of that. What I mean when I said the industry, it is where I want to end up. I want to end up on Beast Games, on Everything Everywhere All at Once, on Marvel Endgame. Like, those are the kind of things that I want to produce. So when I say, like, I don't know what that lifestyle is like, I really do not. I don't know what it's like to pitch a studio. I don't know what it's like to manage a $100 million or $1 billion budget. I couldn't even imagine the complexity that comes with that. But you being realistic about what you want with where you're at now is something that all student filmmakers should do. Yeah. You should think about what you're actually going to enjoy. Timothy Chalamet talked about this in Theo Vaughn's podcast. He said, like, this world is too fucking weird to actually, like, only half-ass do it. You can't, like, halfway do this because it's so crazy. It's so competitive. Of course people want to make movies. Yeah. I think this is the coolest part, like, the coolest job in the world. Do you think it's the coolest job in the world?
Yeah, I think for me, camera work's the coolest job in the world.
Yeah. You want to be a camera operator, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Specifically.
Yeah.
Okay. What is a comparison of the type or caliber of film that you want to work on?
I would love to work on movies. I think that, like you were saying, right now for me, finding where I'm happy with what I'm doing is kind of a journey on my own. But I think just working on movies eventually would be cool. Like you said, you have to dedicate your life to this. And so there was students that I was sitting next to that I remember his name's Jamie. He just did that week. It was our first week of film school. He's like, he just did a music video for Joey Badass. And I'm like, I listened to Joey Badass, and this guy is doing music videos for Joey Badass. I was like, I'm making films with my friends in our backyard. Like, so don't compare yourself, because your brain will go there, right? You'll be like, oh, but they're doing this. Well, okay, go do it with them. And I became friends with them, and they got me on sets. And so, like, that, and it's not like, oh, I'm doing this to get something out of you. I mean, no. It's impressive that they're doing that at that level, but they do dedicate their life. And I don't think that's for me. Yeah. I remember we talked to the first AD of Pirates of the Caribbean and most of the new Marvel movies, like Shang-Chi and Spider-Man. Ooh. Don't remember his name. You can look it up. He's the first AD for a lot of these movies. Okay. He came and talked to the class, and he was so... It didn't seem like there was any time for him, and fair enough. Like,
absolutely
he has dedicated himself to this. And that's so beautiful in the sense of art and dedication and grind that you're doing. but it's not me. I don't think it's for me.
That's good.
I think I'm more of like, I can grind and do stuff and work with cameras and be happy, but I can't not have a moment of silence or go out in nature and have my own time or be with family and friends. I think I need that.
That's good.
And so, I mean, full respect if you're going to dedicate your life to it, but if you really want to go to the top, dedicate your life to it.
Yes.
Because if you're out partying on the weekends, there's probably not a whole lot of room for someone there, because there's someone else on the weekends that's on a set every day, and that's what they do. And so that's not to say that you couldn't make it, but I mean, there's definitely a shift on Hollywood sets.
Yes. I'm excited to see what happens when we graduate and what kind of an era of film we're going to step into. I personally would be comfortable living in Toronto. I think Toronto is a cool place, and it has a lot of good economy for film and finance. But you knowing that you don't want to grind, you don't want to dedicate your blood, sweat, and tears to something like this, that you value family more or you value yourself more, is really good. What was it like having that conversation or figuring it out with yourself? How did you figure it out? Was it LA?
Yeah, it was definitely LA. I mean, it was extremely emotional because I had spent so much time in high school and Butte College just building up this resume and like, I'm gonna go to the industry and I'm gonna make it, right? Like, I'm gonna do this, right? And I was so excited for it that there wasn't much thought of the reality of what I was currently living and what I would be living.
Yeah.
And so when I got down there, I was like, oh, this isn't what I thought it was, right? Like,
yeah, what did you think it was?
I thought I was going to go down, and I mean, I thought just off of good work ethic and a good vibe that
you'd end up on Marvel.
that you would end up on a good set. And I think I would have, but I think the real reality that sunk in was I'm sitting in traffic for 2 hours a day to go a couple miles.
Yeah.
I'm around a lot of people that want to take jobs from me.
Yeah.
All the time, and it's very clear. I'm around a lot of people that think that they're better than me.
Really?
And
how are those things clear?
I
Did
mean,
they say that to you?
like AFI shoots specifically, like it's almost like you're there to serve them.
What do you mean? Like,
So-
how did you feel that way? Like, what happened that made you feel that way?
I guess a specific would be like, if you didn't know something on set, my reaction if you don't know something on set would be like, oh, here's how to do it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, let's just show you, because we're all students.
Yeah.
Let's learn together.
yeah, you
and
are
they're
all
students
students.
too. But the
Yeah.
reaction on those sets was, you don't know what this is? Are you serious? And it was very like a jab. Like,
Yeah.
really? You're here and you don't know what this is? And it was like, I mean, I'm still learning, you know, and that's
Yeah.
all I can really say to that, because how am I supposed to know something I don't know?
Not knowing things. This is actually a philosophy that I live by, just as me, as Ellie, not as any of the projects that I do. But ignorance is not bad. It's how you act with it.
Yeah.
So if you don't know something, you should never feel bad and should never be told negative things for. Like, if you don't know something, it's not a bad thing. So I would have also had that reaction if someone told me that. I'd be like, okay.
Yeah.
How
and
did
then-
you keep your relationships with those people on set good when that kind of stuff would happen?
I would just do my work.
Yeah.
So, I mean, again, you can do your work, and if you do it good, people usually respect you. And, I mean, if you're there and you're willing to learn, then it's not really that big of a deal, because if they're willing to show you, then you'll learn.
Yeah.
But if not, then it's kind of like they expect you to know. And so do your research and learn, because if you're going to go on these sets, they do expect you to know. And you should know most of your shit.
Okay.
And that's just the reality of it, is that these people are dedicating their lives, so they do know. And so I didn't know everything, and I don't claim to know everything. So I was like, okay, well, I'm just here to learn. And they don't want people that are learning. They want people that know what they're doing.
Damn.
Because they grow up down there. You know, their dad's a producer, or they've been on film sets since they were 10.
Oh, that's why they're going to FI. They didn't just Nepo baby.
And there was other people that, like, they just heard of AFI and they transferred down, and I talked to them, and it was a totally different side of the coin.
Huh.
They were like, it felt like they were more like me, because they were like, yeah, I'm in years of debt.
Yeah.
And they're like, I hope I land a job after this. That was what they would say. And I'm like, that's scary to me.
Yes,
I
debt
like
is
a sense of
dangerous.
stability. That's that work-life balance where I'm like,
Yes.
I feel stable. And so I like the art that I make enough to not be like, this isn't valuable. I think that is valuable enough for me to feel fulfilled and feel happy. And making short films with my friends is fun to me.
Heck yeah.
And so, like, until that becomes man, why am I doing this? Then I think I'm just going to keep doing that. And then just learning camera, and maybe something will come of it. Because that's the real love for me. I don't really know if there's love in it for everyone down there. And I know that writers are a little bit different, because writers that I usually meet are mostly die by their art.
Okay.
Crew is more like,
I want to live.
hustle culture is a very big culture
in LA.
that. But I mean, and that's just my experience. And that's just in Northridge. So you could go to Long Beach and it's probably very different than what I experienced. And so I would definitely suggest film school to a student who's trying to learn film. You'll learn everything about it.
Yes.
Ins and outs and all the history and stuff. And
recommend it in within reason of the debt that you would take on. Debt is so dangerous.
Do your research, because I mean, I literally looked at Northridge on a Google Maps and I was like, yeah, that's Los Angeles. And then when you get there, it's like, no, that's the Valley. It's very different. And I didn't know what Los Angeles was. Like, I've been a couple times, but just like driving through.
Yeah, I don't know anything about it.
And so it's this big thing that, do your research. You'll find more stuff about it. And don't get discouraged by things. If your life is film and that's what you want it to be, go down there. You'll probably have a great time. Because I get to see a bunch of film stuff and like film history in person. Got to like see the camera that filmed Star Wars in person. I was like, whoa, or in Indiana Jones, because Panavision they're packed with some really cool stuff. And you can, if you email them, by the way, film students, if you email most of these companies and just ask for a tour, they'll probably give you one if you say you're a student. So, just drop your school and be like, hey, we're just wondering if I can get a tour, because they give student tours all the time. So if you're ever in Los Angeles, hit up Zeiss lenses, hit up Sony. We went to an LED wall too, and they showed us how to do a car scene, right? Where you're not actually driving, it's just a video of the movement in the background. And they taught us how to track with those cameras and stuff. And that's totally available to people. I just don't think that people would ever know that. Like, why would I hit up Sony? They wouldn't care what I have to say. You have to find the right email.
Yes.
Don't hit up Sony Entertainment. Like look into like student programs and stuff like that, and you'll find it. And then another thing, like we were talking about renting equipment. If you want to just go learn gear, you can go to these rental houses and do a fake project name. This and this commercial. This is the equipment we need. Go there. They're going to let you test all the equipment for free. They have rooms where you test them. So you go in and you do a camera test. You do a lens test. They have lens projectors, which shows you, and I'll send you guys a photo of that. You can pop it up.
Yes, please.
Lens projector where you can see the fall off. You can see the bokeh. You can see everything. And it goes from A to H. Yeah. And so you'll see what these lenses look like. And so you could do all that and learn each one of these cameras. And at the end, just go, we're going to go with a different one. Because they want you to rent it. So they're going to let you and your crew test it.
That's really good.
Yeah, and you can do that as many times as you want, because that's their goal. And so I think that's another little tip. Like, all these students are like, I get on set and I don't know what this is. It's like, you could. Like, it depends how much you want to put into this. But you could, if you're by a rental house, that is, you could do that. And it's a little cheat code. I mean, maybe don't go to the same one like 5 days in a row. Maybe spread them out or bring a different crew. But they're just trying to rent out equipment. They're not worried about the quality of your project. Yeah. They want you to just pay the bill.
You already paid it,
Yeah, you pay the bill. We don't care what you're making with it. I mean, please don't blow up the camera. You got insurance for that too. So if you blow up the camera, it's paid for as well. Yeah. Because you're paying for that.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's a little tip that I would definitely think about.
You're very technical. That's what has driven you through this. What do you enjoy about the technical aspect of being behind a camera?
I would say there's these moments where you're like, you have this vision for a shot, and you're like, once that vision actually is fully on screen, exactly how you thought, it's this beautiful, there's no moment like that. There was this, in high school, we did this basketball hype video, and we were like, let's get creative with this, right? Like, we used to just go to the basketball games, we'd shoot them, and then compilation of them dunking and stuff. We're like, let's take the whole basketball team, let's get them in the court, and let's turn off all the lights, and let's light this like a movie, and let's have him do this little intro. And then Raph, he edited it to this like super popular Kodak Black song, Time at the Time. And it just like was this, like, it just felt so good. And the video came out great. And we got to premiere it at this high school rally with like everyone in our, high school.
That's really cool.
There was
at
this,
PV. That's a lot of students.
It's like when you're sitting in the audience and someone's watching your film and it goes the right way.
Yeah.
When you see the audience laugh at a joke that you wrote, it's like, oh, it landed. And so the reaction, people are jumping up and they're getting hyped. And that feeling of just like, we did that. Like that is the greatest feeling. And I think that's where the joy of learning how these cameras work is, because once you know how these really crazy, like how to use this crazy technology, you can then go do that at a super efficient level.
Yeah.
I would say if you look back on those videos versus what I'm making now, it's night and day. Like if we went and remade that video, it would look 10 times better, and I bet I would feel way more accomplished.
Yay.
But it's just you're chasing that dragon, and that's a term you can use in any way. But yeah, just chasing that high of like you accomplished the shot. And so one of the films that my favorite film that I've worked on.
Yes, please.
It's called Better Tomorrow, and Alex, he wrote it. Raph, he edited it, and our friend Anthony Palumbo, which he deserves a shout out to.
Okay.
Great. He's not trying to go into cinematography or anything. He just likes cameras. But in high school, he would always just know how to frame a shot, no matter what it was. And he's got this eye that I always try to push him. I'm like, please come second shoot for me. Please come second shoot for me. And I mean, you know, again, lifestyle, right? That's not what he wants to do, but he's good at it. And we would all just make these movies together. And our senior year, we were like, we're so tired of seeing these short films from students where, oh, it's just the high school campus, or it's just their house, or it's Chico. Everyone's seen Chico because we're from here. We're like, let's push ourselves. Let's just go to San Francisco. And I mean, we didn't have any location forms or anything because we were in high school. I mean, now we would do it different. But we were like, let's just shoot it. Like guerrilla filmmaking, shoot this thing. And so Alex wrote this. I really liked it. I don't think the rest of the crew liked it as much as I did. But we had this, and there was, ups and downs. There was rain, and we had to go through all this stuff. And, just to get these shots. And I remember we stayed up till 5 a.m. on the top of the hill in San Francisco because I just was like, we got to get this shot of
have to get
the
this.
city skyline for this dialogue scene. Like, I just want the skyline, and they're standing there.
Yeah.
And so we're like, there can't be any cars, so we'll wait. So we waited till 5 a.m. Everyone's exhausted. We just filmed all day. And, like, we're all mad at each other, which, like, that's how it goes sometimes. But we got the shot, and I just remember that same feeling coming back. And then the last shot of the film, we did this chase scene through Golden Gate Park, and it didn't come out quite how we wanted it to. But there was a shot I was like, I want them running on the horizon line with the Golden Gate Bridge in the background and their silhouettes. Yeah. That's what I really just want the shot. Like, just for me. Like, it's not even... just that's where that, like, passion's coming in. And so I climbed this abandoned building, and I'm up there with the telephoto lens, and I'm on a phone call with them. I'm like, all right, go. And so right before the sun's about to set, we're trying to get this. And we only have, like, 15 minutes. And, like, it was so intense, and, like, your adrenaline's going. Yeah. And we got the shot, and they're running on the skyline, and we're like, yes, we got it, right?
Oh, cool.
And we get back to the editing room, speck of dust on the lens.
Oh.
See it right in the skyline. And we were like, maybe we'll mask it. And
Did you mask it?
I think they turned it in without it, but I think Raph masked a little bit of it, but it was very noticeable. And I was like, fuck. I just remember we were going so hard there. And when we got the shot, though, everyone was celebrating. It was like this huge thing. And so I think that's where... that's the real return on your investment there is like you did something that you wanted to, right? Like you want to be there. I think like once you start doing commercial work, it might start to feel like a day job. Take that time out where you're like, that's what I want to do. Let me just do that for a day. Yeah. Maybe for a month. Like, I'm going to just take a month off work and do what I want to do just for a little bit. And that's just life, I think. But I mean, those are the best feelings.
Yeah. I felt that way about making the podcast. It was like my first time I had decided to do just a personal project that I just had an idea with, and then I immediately decided to do it. And then I like got a location, and then I got my directors of photography and my gaffer, and I was like, oh my gosh, people are saying yes, like people want to support me. And I was like, whoa. So
Yeah, and when
out.
you go back and look at that same feeling, or when someone reacts to it and it's like they maybe leave a comment, or people are excited to be on it, that's got to be that same feeling, right?
Yeah.
It's like you made this, right? And
I
that's
just
a
made a
beautiful
space.
thing. Yeah.
I made a space for people to talk, and you were excited as soon as you saw it. You were like,
yeah.
I'd be interested in being on the podcast.
Well, I mean, just based on the episode so far, you can tell I like to talk. So
Yeah.
I could talk all day.
I love listening to you talk. It's very refreshing for me because I meet so many filmmakers. I'm on the hiring side as a producer. I'm the one who sources our crew, even if I'm not working with a budget, most of my films. Then I meet so many filmmakers. I meet so many students who want to do this as a career. And we have conversations about the realism, or I meet a creative person. I explain it. I think I use the term like when I'm working with creatives. I specifically say creatives because they are the die by their art. They want to be paid to do their art, and they want their vision to be seen. When I have those conversations with students that are creatives, I have trouble broaching the subject of business and reality because I care about their financial well-being. And so hearing you talk about the realities of this being a filmmaker in general, it's very refreshing for me. Thank you. I'm really excited to see where you're at mentally.
Yeah, and that's not to say that you shouldn't do that. Like, you shouldn't die by your art, because, I mean, some of the best directors in history are people who, they don't want to hear what the CEO has to say.
And that's okay.
They want to make their art, no matter what it is. And they'll spend whatever money they have to get there, right?
Yeah.
And so that's, again, two sides of the coin, and that's every art piece. I have a friend, he does music, and he's the same way. He doesn't want to hear the business side.
And that's cool.
But he makes great music. And so, like, I mean, maybe you're not on Spotify's number one, but there's a business to everything. It's not just you make the best art, you get on. It's maybe you get noticed, but you got to be able to navigate. If you really want to get on those lists, those lists it's a navigation.
That's such a huge thing that everyone talks about, is being noticed. Like, someone's going to reach down from the heavens, like a CEO of, like Kevin Feige's going to go and just grab your hand and be like, now you are a producer.
It won't come to you. You have to go to it.
Yeah.
Like, you have to work for those things.
That is such a huge misconception, and I have this conversation with almost every student filmmaker I have spoken to, is I ask them like, oh, are you interning? Oh, are you going to make 4 projects this semester? Oh, are you going to practice? And they're like, no, I just have this one project. I'm working on this one project, and I'm just really into it, but I want to be a filmmaker. And I'm like, how are you going to get there? You don't want to do an internship because you think internships are like below you. I have positive experiences too. I'm just talking about this so I can acknowledge it. Yeah. So like they'll be like, essentially they just think like it will come to me. And I'm like, no, you need to intern so that people can meet you. You need to talk to people and be on sets so that people can meet you. You need to learn how to pitch, especially if you're a writer, because you only have 3 minutes of people's attention at most, most of the time. Very unlikely, unless you have nepotism, that you would be in the room with anyone who has the ability to produce your film or your writing or buy it or option it.
If you can sell yourself, that's a huge asset. And I think, like you were saying, students don't tend to get that because they just want to make the art, and that's fair. I think that there's 2 completely different sides there, because you can make art at a really high level and never get noticed.
Yes.
And that's fine. And you probably operate at the highest level out of some of the most famous artists, but you might not get noticed. And so it really depends where you want to be. And there is a fakeness to industry and business, and sometimes that is just business. I worked for a company, Red Rock Entertainment, while I was in Los Angeles. And, you know, a lot of that is business. And they do a lot of music festivals that I like. So I was really excited to get in with them. And so I was like, man, I really want to shoot for this company. And so when I first went into the interview, I was like telling them how much I wanted to be a cinematographer, right?
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, okay. But they didn't really care.
Yeah.
They weren't looking for a cinematographer. So I got
okay.
a no, right? 2 months later, I got accepted into the Cannes Film Festival, right?
Yeah.
And I made this video of just me talking to the camera like, hey, I'm Justin, I'm from here.
Yeah.
And he hits me up, the owner, and he's like, did you make this video? And I was like, yeah, I made that video. And he's like, are you available tomorrow at 10 a.m.? And
Oh my
I was
gosh.
like, yeah. And so I went in, and he's like, we don't need a shooter, but we need someone who can edit.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's one of those moments where you really gotta sell yourself, because even if you're not an editor, like, because some people like me, I just want to work the camera.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just have to do other things. And
Yeah.
so I was like, yeah, I can edit.
Mm-hmm.
And I've edited. I'm not an editor. I'm not great at it, but I can learn. I can teach myself.
Yeah.
And so I just was like, yeah, I edit. Yeah, I got
Hell
it.
yeah.
And he was like, can you do this, this, and this? And he's like, we need to be able to grab footage of our actors, and we need to be able to put it into reels.
Mm-hmm.
But we just need it for internal stuff.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so he was like, we need you to be able to grab that footage for us.
That's
and
a paid opportunity that came from one Instagram reel.
Yeah. And so
Nice.
they just needed me to grab footage, and I worked for them for a while. And then when I moved back, I still sometimes send them stuff and like edit for them a little bit. Mm-hmm. But I wanted to do cinematography, so I kind of backed out a little bit more. But maybe if down the road, if there's a better connection, maybe I'll shoot something for them.
It's so wonderful that you're at a point in your career when you can say no to things because you have skills that you've worked on. How many hours do you think you've been a cinematographer?
Years, maybe 6.
Years, maybe 6. If you could culminate your hours, it would be in the thousands. What range would you think you have in thousands?
Well, I guess paid work, maybe 1,000. But like build.com, that's a regular job for me. So I get to go in and work with cameras, every day of the week. So I could actually clock those hours. Like there's probably an exact number in my spreadsheet that I could find for that. But I don't usually clock my hours on like other commercial work. I'm just there until the job is like, until we make the thing. Yeah. So I don't really know. I would just say I've been doing it for 6 years. And I mean, hopefully the longer I do it, the more that those hours become paid, and my work is worth that. Because if you're making stuff that's not worth pay, then you're not going to get much work. But yeah.
Okay. Justin, you are going to attend Cannes for 2026, right?
Yes. Well, no, 2025. So
2025. This May?
This May.
Oh, that's so soon.
Coming up. Yep, a little nervous, but...
Dude, congratulations. Can you tell me about, like, how that happened and what you are, like, working on towards it?
Yeah, so a presenter came to our class, and he kind of just pitched this program. It's called the American Pavilion. You go and you do a 4-hour internship each day, and after the internship, you have full access to the festival. So you're on the red carpet, full tuxedo next to actors and directors. You get to sit on the round tables. You get to see the movies before they come out, and you get to actually see how this film market works, because that's what Cannes is. It's a bunch of countries coming together to buy films.
Yes.
And so he pitches this, and obviously a lot of students are pretty excited. And he finishes, and the teacher comes up to finish the class. And I was like, you know what? I really want to go to this. I think the only way it's going to happen is if I make a good impression. And so he walks out of the room and he goes to leave, and everyone stays in class. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go. And so I just get my stuff and I go, and he goes to the bathroom, and I'm like, okay, well, this is kind of creepy. I'm going to wait for him outside the bathroom. Maybe don't do this with everyone, but this guy was really nice. Thank God.
Okay.
He comes out, and I go, hi, I'm Justin. I just want to introduce myself. I'm going to be applying tonight. I'll see you there at the festival. And he goes, I'll see you at Cannes. And he left, right? And I was like, okay, that's a good impression. And that night, I get on the website, and they had like 8 essay questions. And I just like went through them, and I hit up Alex. I'm like, read these real quick, dude. And he read them. He's like, you're good. And so I uploaded it. And the next day, I got called back for the interview. And when I did the interview, it was the same guy. And he's like, I saw your name. He's like, you're one of the first students I've ever seen get the application done that quick.
Oh my gosh.
And he's like, you did a really good job. And so we were talking, and you can either do hospitality or video in the program. And so the American Pavilion is there. Each country has a pavilion.
Okay.
And so there you can go hang out with people from your country.
Yeah.
Or just meet people from that country. And so we serve food and stuff like that. So that's the hospitality. Or you can go do an internship with like one of the magazines that's there and do photo, or you can do video for the event, right?
Dude.
So stuff like that. And so I'm talking to him, I go, I'm gonna be honest with you, I just want to land a job. That's all I care about. I was like, that's all I care about. And he said, okay. And I was like, so just tell me the top 3 positions to get a job. Yeah. He goes, how does that go? And he goes, students often think that you'll go there and do the video and you'll get in with this company that you're interning for. But he goes, the ones that we've seen succeed the most and get stuff is the bartender.
Yeah, they get to talk to everyone.
Why is that? And he goes, well, when you're a film student and you walk up to these directors, they don't want to hear what you have to say. No one wants to talk to, like, I'm a film student, this is what I do, right? And some people might want to talk to you, but when you're at a big prestigious festival like that, they have an agenda and they don't really want to hear you. Everybody who goes to a bar wants to talk.
Yeah.
Everyone who goes to a bar wants to talk to the bartender. And I had already bartended at Big Tuna here in Chico.
Hey.
So I'm like, that's perfect. And he said, and then right after that, he said I would probably do the video section. And so my first option is bartending, second is video, and then right behind that I think is the VIP lounge. Because I just want to talk to people and I want to, because he was telling me people who like became producers at Lionsgate and Disney and like students. And the director for Black Panther and Creed actually did this program.
Whoa.
And he came back and he talked to the students about it, and he said it was one of the best things that like helped him on his path.
Oh my gosh.
Because you go and talk to these real like directors. I think Willem Dafoe was at the American Pavilion last time and people were just talking to him, and Wes Anderson's always there, and and Tarantino, and so I'm really excited for that, and I just want to meet everyone and get my name out there and hopefully land a job in the industry, and I think that's the best avenue.
Dude.
And so we are fundraising, and so the fundraiser we're doing on March 30th at Unwind, we're doing a silent auction with live music.
Yeah.
We're going to be giving away some camera stuff. We're going to be giving away some just like local business stuff.
Yay.
And if you want to donate too, we have a GoFundMe, which the link will be popped up here.
Yeah.
And we also, if you want, because GoFundMe does take a percentage off. If you're really like, oh, I want him to get the money, you can also Venmo me or Cash App. And we will be showing what our, at March 30th, we'll be showing how much we've hit on GoFundMe, and other people have been giving me like cash and stuff. It's all in a spreadsheet. Because some like family members are like, oh my God, you're going, right? And so that's really the scope of the contest. And after that, I'm going to go spend a week in Paris as a celebration. I'm just going to go backpack it and stay in hostels.
That's sick, dude. Are you the first person that has ever represented Chico at Cannes? I've never heard of anyone going to Cannes.
I don't know. Maybe student-wise, yes, I would think so. I haven't heard of any. And I know that the maker of Video Maker magazine has been there. And he's based in Chico. If you ever get a chance, that would be a great opportunity. He owns a very well-known magazine about video making here in Chico. And he's been to Cannes. I talked to him about it. But yeah, not that I know of student-wise. And so I really do want to come back and share these experiences and get a bunch of content there and be able to show students like, you guys can do this. Like, I mean, that is the A-list. That is the industry. It's right there every year. It's right there. And so I think this is a perfect foot in the door. And I think being able to sell yourself and understanding how to pitch in a professional scenario is really going to help if you go do something like this.
Heck yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. My next question, I wanted to know, has there been a specific movie that has inspired you above like all others? Yeah,
so if we're just talking about movies I love, I would have to say Inglourious Basterds. There's something about it's just a fun depiction of war in a way. It's obviously a very brutal movie, but it's a weird spin on it, and I can find myself rewatching that and having a great time every time. A movie that inspired me, and it's now like my favorite thing to do, is 1917, because of these long takes. 1917.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, obviously they explain in videos, if you're really into it, they'll explain this is where the cut was, because you don't really see the cuts happen because they hide them. And these super long takes that take all this choreography, I was always super into, and I'm like, oh man, I really want to get a long take. And I always try to do it in my short films, but the directors never want to do it. But in the DFG.
Yes.
Thank God someone wanted to do it.
Juan Sanchez.
Yeah, there's Juan Sanchez. There's a horror musical.
Yeah.
And he goes, there's going to be a bunch of long takes. And I go, you sold me. I'm there.
That's
and,
it.
And so, and even with the DJI that I have now, that's built for that. So
Yay.
like I can just move around and get perfect focus and movement. And so, yeah, that and an easy rig, and I'm a happy guy. So the 1917 definitely inspired my favorite technique, which is a long take. There's also in Goodfellas where they walk into the restaurant. That long take, it's just them. They walk into this nightclub through the kitchen, and he's taking her on the first date.
Yeah.
And they walk into this comedy club, and they sit down. It's like, I don't even know how long. You can look it up. It's probably 5 minutes of them just walking, but the camera work, like they're going around corners and stuff. And for the time, I don't even know what setup they were running, but I want to know
because it was film, right?
and it just blows my mind that you can get that with no mistakes. And so that's my favorite thing that comes out of those kind of movies and stuff.
I hope you get to make the next 1917 or 1917 long take.
Yeah, just a
That'd be
long
cool.
take in a movie. Would be like, dang, I did it.
What would be the peak of your career in terms of like the kind of movie you would work on? Like the next Inglourious Bastards or the next 1917 or?
I mean, we're talking dream scenario.
Dream scenario.
Dream scenario would probably just be with a director that I like. So Tarantino would be crazy. It's not going to happen because he's running up.
Say it though.
He's running up on his last movie, but Tarantino would be sweet because he's just such a coveted, and it's such a cliche. And I think just liking what you like is something that's not looked good upon among film students. I remember I was in a circle of film students and everyone had to say their favorite movie, and a kid said Transformers and everyone shunned him, and it was like,
Aww.
why does that matter?
Yeah, what?
Just he gets something from that, right? And so I think like people get things out of these movies that you don't have to understand. And so like I don't think there's like a cliche. I think there's just different tastes. And so like if someone says their favorite movie is Wayne's World, they speak differently than a person that likes 1917 probably, because they're very different vibes. But that's not to say that bad movies can't be someone's favorite, because I watch bad movies all the time because it's hilarious.
Yeah, there's this movie called Get Duked.
Okay.
It blew my mind. I will send you the link to it. It blew my mind how good this movie was. I have never had a better time watching a shitty like UK-based movie about kids that went into like they went into like a field in like the fjords, and they were like chased by a really wealthy group of people with guns to kill them because they were like bad kids. And it was so good. I loved that movie so much. And it was better than like freaking what's it called? Red One. That was a big Red One is like my comparative to like what is bad.
And like here's another thing to think about: the Minecraft movies coming out, right? Me and my friends played Minecraft when we were kids. We know that there's a lot of things that fans are not happy about, but we're like, we played Minecraft as kids, let's go watch it. And so that's like another comparison of maybe it'll be a great movie. I don't even know. We're gonna go see it.
Maybe it will be. I don't know. I'm glad Jack Black is gonna be in it though.
Yes.
Shout out Woody.
Dude.
Tell me, I would like to know, where do you see yourself in 5 years from now? Like realistically not even realistically, but like where do you want to be in 5 years? Not realistically, because that's
Hopefully on a beach sipping a pina colada. No, where would I want to be in 5 years? 5 years from now?
Where do you want to be? Dream-wise, where would you want to be?
I would like consistency in my own business. I would like to have a project once or twice a month that I'm getting paid for. That is my project.
Yay.
That's where I would like to be in 5 months. If I were to, or 5 years.
5 years.
5 years. Whoa. Man, 5 years. How old am I? 27. Whew.
You'd be 27.
Hopefully I'll be done with school by then and tuition, because that would be fun. And if I were to tell myself anything 5 years from now, I'd probably say, just keep being happy, because I mean, that was kind of the whole goal with this thing. Just like back to Grandpa Wayne, his philosophy was whatever you do, just be happy. And he would always be that way. So, I mean, that if film school's not for you, or if I'm not in the right place, just go to where I need to be happy. And so I think that's the end goal in 5 years. 5-year Justin, look at me. We look so different, but do it. Do it for me. Yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome. Thank you so much, Justin.
Thank
I've
you.
loved talking to you.
Thanks for having me.
So, Justin, we at the end of our videos always say thank you to Dustin and Anna, Dustin Vaught and Anna Alexander. Dustin's a producer here in town, and Anna Alexander is a historian at Chico State University. So, we're going to say thank you for letting us use the Enlow Mansion. 3, 2, 1. Thank you, Dustin. Thank you, Anna. Yay!